Welcome to my bold and beautiful Today's Show channel. I hope today fantastic for everyone. Please hit the subscribe button and give this video thumbs up. Ridge can't get Brooke off the brain. After seeing Brooke walk down that runway in a couture wedding gown reminiscent of Portofino, Ridge can't stop thinking about her. After a long talk with Eric, his feelings seem to have intensified. Ridge told Eric that he was committed to Taylor, and he refused to break her heart again. However, when he is alone, all Ridge can think about is his Logan. It doesn't help that Brooke is right there and is not about to give up. Ridge is her destiny, and she is determined to make him see that if it's the last thing she does. Ridge is torn as he always is and is not sure what to do. He is determined to honor his commitment, but Eric has made some pretty good points. Perhaps Ridge should have thought about all this before he hopped into bed with Taylor literally 5 minutes after breaking things off with Brooke. It's clear that Taylor sees what's coming, so maybe she should have waited to hop into bed with Ridge, too. Katie gives Daphne a piece of her mind. Katie is onto Daphne and now seems to realize she was a plant all along. Daphne's friendship with Steffi is what brought her to Los Angeles, but her feelings for Carter are keeping her there. After witnessing Daphne kissing Carter once again and hearing a conversation with Zende, Katie is furious and sticks her nose where it doesn't belong. Katie warns the perfume princess when she approaches Daphne. Katie thinks that Daphne is cheating on her niece and that she won't take it. Hope and Carter belong together, so Katie warns Daphne to watch her back around Carter. Daphne already has a low opinion of the Logan ladies, so this won't help. Are we about to see an all-out war between Daphne and Katie over something that is not Katie's business at all? Catch all new episodes of The Bold and the Beautiful weekdays on CBS and Paramount+. Eric's new interest. The Bold and the Beautiful. We're still in the weird aftermath bubble of time post-fashion show, where everyone's moved on to a new day, except Daphne, who is still wearing the same outfit as the day before and apparently never left Forrester overnight. Steffi went over to Brooke's house to see her parents and have a business conversation without thinking about Liam. Eric got up early and went to Brooke's house before she even got dressed. Amazingly, Carter is so taken by Ridge's constant praise and Daphne's scent that he forgot Will was the intern. But what truly has my head spinning is that Ridge, who we've wanted for years, if not decades, to grow up and stop womanizing, is trying his damnedest to do just that, and no one will let him. Just when the guy finds some zen, balances his chakras, and remembers that people he claims to care about have hearts that can break, his dad becomes his ex's champion. His ex meaning Ridge, although she's Eric's, too. It's complicated. Eric went from saying that Brooke lost her shine finally to plotting with the Logan sisters to get Ridge and Brooke back together. Why? He may claim to know his son, but what does that say? Does Eric prefer the Ridge that carelessly bounces back and forth between women, and is determined to make it happen again? Why not be happy that Ridge doesn't want Brooke's drama and wants to commit to Taylor for the rest of his life? There must be another reason for this than just thinking he knows what's best. Maybe Eric's summer line will be haute couture #Team Brooke designer t-shirts. Want more details? We got you. Soap Central has the best full B&B recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers, too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not, seriously, do not, forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show, and the best part is if you agree or disagree, we want to know. Hope forces Brooke to choose. Hope forces Brooke to choose. She is absolutely tired of the fact that Brooke keeps choosing Ridge over everyone else. Ridge was absolutely nasty to Hope and called her the kind of names that no woman should hear, yet Brooke is still falling all over him like he's the only man left on the planet. That's why for Hope, enough is enough. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say that she's going to take matters into her own hands and tell her mother that she needs to make a choice. Either Brooke chooses her family or Ridge. And if she decides to choose Ridge, that means Hope is going to ban her from seeing her granddaughter Beth ever again. Desperate times call for desperate measures. As our readers can imagine, the internet certainly had a lot to say about the matter. Some have even commented with, in order to break the cycle because Hope ended up going for the same kind of man. While Liam was following Steffi all over town like a stray dog shivering after her, Brooke was encouraging Hope to go begging after Liam like she is shamelessly begging after Ridge right now. The Bold and the Beautiful. What's next for Hope Logan? Another fan wrote, I don't know that I would go to the extreme of removing my mother from my life. I definitely would move off my mother's property and get my own place. I may tell her that her destiny is not welcome in my new home. If Ridge was any kind of decent human being, he would reach out to Hope himself, and work on forming a new relationship with Hope. Brooke shouldn't be involved at all. And then there was this comment as well, What bubbles my mind is how Rick, her eldest son and firstborn, hates Ridge, and has categorically said so numerous times, and now we don't see him at all. The only people rooting for a Bridge reunion are her sisters and Eric. No one else. That should say something. Then again, B&B fans will simply have to tune in each and every day to find out what will happen next. Katie and Daphne, another new rivalry. Katie butts in. Katie Logan thinks that everything at Forrester Creations is her business, even if it isn't. First, Katie sees Daphne Rose kissing Carter Walton and can't believe her eyes. Then, she eavesdrops on a conversation between Daphne and Zende Forrester, which turns out to be a very revealing conversation. Indeed. Does she learn that Steffi Forrester Finnegan brought Daphne to Los Angeles with the express purpose of sabotaging Carter and Hope Logan's little coup by seducing Carter? Read this. The bold and the beautiful Brooke's efforts backfire while Ridge connects with Carter. Katie would find it fascinating to have knowledge of that. She confronts Daphne and demands to know what she is really after. Katie just might find that going after Daphne may not be as fruitful as she expects. Daphne is not about to allow anyone to push her around, especially a Logan. Katie better watch who she plays with. Ridge confronts Eric. Now that the big fashion show is behind them, Ridge Forrester has a bone to pick with Eric Forrester. Yes, Brooke Logan was a vision in that wedding gown and took Ridge's breath away on the runway, but it was still unexpected, and he wants to know why Eric did that to him. And to Taylor Hayes. Ridge doesn't agree with Eric's assertion that he belongs with Brooke to his son. He has made a commitment to Taylor, and it's a commitment that he is determined to keep. Ridge can't just dump her because of another misunderstanding with Brooke. He's done that too many times before, and Taylor ended up with broken heart syndrome. Ridge is not going to put Taylor's health at risk for Brooke and Eric. Eric and Brooke are not about to give up, however. They are determined to make sure that Ridge sees the light soon. Ridge is Brooke's destiny, and after the fashion show, she is more sure of that than ever. Ridge Forrester can't get Brooke Logan off his mind, and no matter how hard he tries to bury those lingering feelings beneath layers of promises, past mistakes, and Taylor Hayes' hopeful gaze, the truth is clear. He is once again at the crossroads of his heart, and the memory of Brooke descending that runway in a Portofino-inspired couture gown is seared into his soul. He said he was committed to Taylor, swore he wouldn't break her heart again, and even tried convincing himself that he had outgrown the toxic, tumultuous loop of heartbreak he's so often spun with Brooke. But as he stares out of the Forrester windows, lost in thought, her image remains vivid, regal, radiant, and reminiscent of 1,000 moments they once shared in cities that sparkle and summers that never seem to end. Eric, ever the meddler cloaked in fatherly concern, didn't help matters, he only intensified the dilemma. In his heart-to-heart with Ridge, Eric laid it bare, as only a father can. You're still in love with Brooke, whether you admit it or not. That wasn't just a statement. It was a declaration, a wake-up call, and a subtle nudge toward a destiny Ridge has tried so many times to reject, only to inevitably come crawling back. However, Ridge and anyone else who is watching are well aware of the irony. After all, it was barely minutes after ending things with Brooke that he leapt into Taylor's bed, as if intimacy could erase emotion. And Taylor, wise and wounded, surely saw the signs, the hesitation in Ridge's eyes, the way his thoughts seemed elsewhere, the quiet storm brewing just beneath his polished exterior. She may have convinced herself that what they shared was real, that Ridge was truly hers this time. But in the depths of her heart, the old fear remains. Brooke Logan never really leaves Ridge, and when she returns, she takes everything with her. Meanwhile, Brooke is far from subtle about her intentions. She is familiar with the game, Ridge's weaknesses, and the importance of timing. She does not hesitate to make use of the runway moment in her favor because, after all, it was a spectacle designed not only for fashion but also for persuasion. Dressed in bridal white, echoing the romance of Portofino and the years of longing, she reminded Ridge of everything they once had, and everything they could have again. She isn't giving up. Not now, not ever. Ridge is her destiny, and if that means facing down Taylor, Eric, Hope, and even her own doubts, then so be it. But it's not just Ridge and Brooke whose world is spinning. It's Forrester Creations, a place where loyalty is fickle, motives are tangled, and alliances shift like sand under silk stilettos. Katie Logan, always ready to step in where she believes Logan pride is at stake, finds herself at odds with Daphne Rose, the mysterious newcomer who may be more than just a stylish distraction. Daphne, with her perfect perfume and ambiguous loyalties, is turning heads, especially Carter Walton's, who seems to have forgotten all about Hope the moment Daphne entered the frame. Katie, ever the protective aunt and self-appointed moral compass of the Logan clan, isn't having it. She has seen Daphne kiss Carter once more and has heard enough from Zende to piece together a disturbing puzzle that portrays Daphne as a plant that Steffi sent to break up the growing bond between Hope and Carter. With her Logan loyalty blazing, Katie confronts Daphne and issues a warning that would make even Sheila Carter raise an eyebrow. But Daphne isn't afraid. In fact, Katie's threats only amuse her. She's dealt with worse than a Logan scorned, and if Katie thinks she can intimidate her out of Los Angeles, or Carter's life, she's got another thing coming. Thus begins the brewing storm, Katie versus Daphne, a rivalry steeped in pride, suspicion, and personal agendas that may blow up everything in their path. And then there's Hope Logan, who has had enough of Ridge's name being spoken like a god among men, enough of her mother prioritizing romantic fantasy over family reality, and enough of living in the long, exhausting shadow of Ridge. Ridge wasn't just cruel to her, he was dismissive, demeaning, and outright vicious. Yet Brooke remains entranced, as though the decades of heartbreak never happened. That's why Hope, standing tall in her pain and disillusionment, draws a line in the sand. It's Ridge or family, and Brooke has to choose. If she chooses Ridge, Hope will cut her out, not just from her life, but from Beth's, too. It's a devastating ultimatum, but one Hope believes is necessary. She's tired of the cycles, tired of watching her mother lose herself in a man who never deserved her loyalty in the first place. And while some fans may balk at such extremity, others nod in agreement. How else can you break a generational curse unless you shatter it with finality? Brooke, caught in the rip current between love and loyalty, isn't ready for this decision, and it shows. But one way or another, a choice must be made, and this time, the stakes are as personal as they are permanent. Back at Forrester, Ridge confronts Eric about the fashion show and the bridal bait-and switch that left him reeling. It's not just about Brooke looking breathtaking, it's about being manipulated. Again. Ridge is trying to do the right thing, to honor his commitment to Taylor, to prove that he's capable of fidelity, consistency, growth. But Eric doesn't care about all that. To Eric, Ridge belongs with Brooke. Period. It's a viewpoint steeped in nostalgia, in his own regrets, in the belief that some loves are meant to be no matter how messy, how painful, how chronically unstable they may be. But Ridge is tired. Tired of hurting Taylor. Tired of feeling like a puppet. Tired of being told who he's supposed to be in love with. And yet, despite all that, he still can't get Brooke out of his head. Every quiet moment is haunted by her laughter, her perfume, the way she looked under the lights in that gown that might as well have been a wedding dress sewn from his memories. The entire canvas of the bold and the beautiful is shifting. What began as a post-fashion show cooldown has exploded into emotional upheaval across the board. Daphne, still clad in yesterday's couture, hasn't even changed clothes, but she's already changed the dynamics between Carter, Hope, and the Forresters. Eric, having gone from sidelined patriarch to strategic meddler, is now quietly aligning with the Logan sisters in a secret plot to reunite Brooke and Ridge, because he knows his son. But does he? Or does he simply prefer the Ridge who stirs drama, ignites passion, and keeps the legacy of Forrester as scandalous as ever? Is Eric truly thinking about Ridge's happiness, or is he curating his final act as a designer with the ultimate Team Brooke finale? Meanwhile, Brooke is emboldened, Katie is enraged, Hope is at her breaking point, and Taylor, poor Taylor, is once again playing the long-suffering romantic optimist, holding on to a man whose heart is already slipping through her fingers. Alliances will fall apart, secrets will surface, and irreversible decisions will be made as the plot gets more complicated. Will Ridge finally grow into the man he's always claimed he wanted to be? Or will the gravitational pull of Brooke Logan reel him back in one more time, breaking Taylor's heart and Hope's trust in the process? Will Daphne's true motives finally be revealed? And if so, will Carter regret ever inhaling her intoxicating presence? Will Katie push too far and end up triggering a war she never expected? And as Hope draws her line in the sand, will Brooke have the courage to step over it, or will she crumble beneath the weight of her own romantic ideals? Ridge's torment, a heart torn between two loves. Ridge Forrester is a man at war with himself. He was shaken when Brooke Logan walked down the runway in that stunning couture wedding dress that seemed to whisper of Portofino, their previous vows, and every passionate reunion they had ever had. He had convinced himself that he was done with the back and forth, done with the chaos Brooke brought into his life. He had chosen Taylor Hayes, not just as a fleeting comfort but as a commitment, a promise to finally be the steadfast man she deserved. And yet, as the fabric of Brooke's gown shimmered under the lights, so too did the memories of every kiss, every argument, every desperate reconciliation they'd ever had. His conversation with Eric only deepened the turmoil. Eric, the man who had once been Brooke's husband, who had witnessed the destructive power of their love firsthand, was now standing in Ridge's office, urging him to reconsider. "You belong with her," Eric had said, his voice firm, his eyes knowing. "You can lie to yourself, but you can't lie to me. I know my son." That had offended Ridge. Since when did Eric become Brooke's champion? When was the last time he decided that Brooke was the only way Ridge could be happy? The worst part, however? Eric wasn't entirely wrong. Because when Ridge was alone, when the noise of the world faded and it was just him and his thoughts, it wasn't Taylor's face he saw. It was Brooke's. After the show, she had looked at him in a certain, confident manner, not cocky, not triumphant. As if she already knew he would come crawling back. As much as it enticed him, that also enraged him. Brooke, for her part, wasn't making things easier. She wasn't pleading, wasn't begging. She was simply there, a constant presence, a reminder of what he was trying so hard to resist. She had declared him her destiny, and Brooke Logan was not a woman who surrendered easily. If Ridge thought he could walk away unscathed, he was sorely mistaken. And then there was Taylor. Sweet, loyal Taylor, who had taken him back time and time again, who had endured heartbreak after heartbreak at his hands. Ridge had sworn he wouldn't hurt her again. He had told Eric as much. But how could he keep that promise when every fiber of his being was pulled toward Brooke? Perhaps, as the script suggests, he should have thought twice before jumping into bed with Taylor mere minutes after ending things with Brooke. Perhaps Taylor should have hesitated before welcoming him back so readily. But hindsight was useless now. The damage was done, the lines were drawn, and Ridge was caught in the middle, as always. Katie versus Daphne, a battle brewing at Forrester. Meanwhile, another storm was brewing, this one between Katie Logan and the enigmatic Daphne. Katie had always been protective of her family, sometimes to a fault, and when she saw Daphne locking lips with Carter Walton, again, her suspicions skyrocketed. This wasn't just an innocent fling. There was something calculated about Daphne's moves, something that didn't sit right with Katie. Her concerns only grew when she overheard Daphne's conversation with Zende. The way Daphne spoke, the way she smirked, it was as if she was playing a game, and Carter was just a pawn. Katie's blood boiled. Hope had experienced enough. She didn't need some perfume princess waltzing in and sabotaging her relationship with Carter. So Katie did what she did best, she intervened. Confronting Daphne in the design office, Katie made it clear that she was on to her. "You think you can waltz in here and manipulate Carter? Think again," Katie snapped. "Hope deserves happiness, and if you're standing in the way of that, you'll have me to answer to." However, Daphne was unperturbed. She had already formed a less than flattering opinion of the Logan women, and Katie's interference only reinforced it. With a dismissive laugh, Daphne shot back. "Carter is a grown man. He can make his own choices. And if his choice is me? Well, that's not my problem." The tension between them crackled, setting the stage for a full-blown rivalry. Was Daphne truly a plant, brought in by Steffi to break up Hope and Carter? Or was there more to her story? One thing was certain, Katie wasn't backing down. And if Daphne thought she could outmaneuver a Logan, she was in for a rude awakening. Eric's mysterious motivations. The sudden support for Brooke and Ridge's reunion from Eric was raising questions. Just weeks ago, he had been the one to point out how toxic their relationship was, how Brooke had lost her shine. So why the sudden change of heart? Some speculated that Eric was simply nostalgic, remembering the passion Ridge and Brooke once shared. Others wondered if there was a deeper motive. Perhaps a fear that Ridge, in settling for stability with Taylor, was losing the fiery, creative spark that made him such a brilliant designer. Or maybe, just maybe, Eric was playing a longer game. If Ridge and Brooke reunited, it would shake up the entire dynamic at Forrester Creations. And Eric had never been one to shy away from stirring the pot. Hope's ultimatum, a line in the sand. Then there was Hope, who had reached her breaking point. Ridge had insulted her, belittled her, and yet Brooke continued to chase after him as if he was some prize to be won. Enough was enough. In a heated confrontation, Hope delivered an ultimatum: choose. Either you stand with your family, or you choose Ridge. But if you pick him, you lose me, and you lose Beth. It was a brutal move, but Hope was desperate. She couldn't watch her mother self-destruct anymore. And if Brooke needed a wake-up call, this was it. What's next? With Ridge torn between duty and desire, Katie and Daphne on a collision course, and Hope drawing a hard line, the stage was set for explosive confrontations. Would Ridge ultimately commit to Taylor and break the cycle? Or would he succumb to Brooke's pull once more? And as for Eric, what was his endgame? One thing was certain: in the world of the bold and the beautiful, love was never simple, and loyalty was always tested.